BetOnline continues to be the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting. From the earliest odds to in-game live betting, BetOnline provides you with all the action and the ability to watch the game as they happen. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball, NHL to UFC. Head to BetOnline today and don't forget to use the promo code BELIEVE for your welcome bonus on your first deposit. BetOnline, the game starts here. Welcome to another edition of Believe in Giants. Bob Papa, two-time Super Bowl champion Carl Banks. So glad you can join us, getting you set for the Giants and the New Orleans Saints. And want to remind our listeners, make sure you rate us and review us on Apple if you're listening. And, of course, always leave comments on YouTube. Carl, this is a banged-up Giant team going into this game against the New Orleans Saints, trying to get their first win of the season, and it kind of boils down to the same thing as always. Will they be able to stop the run? Because now they got to deal with Alvin Kamara.
Yeah, it's trying to stop the run, Bob, and then you know for certain that Dexter Lawrence is out for the year. So that's your biggest run stopper there. Listen, they've just got to show, some willingness to not even willingness, some sign that schematically they can get people in place to stop the run, and then it's just a matter of making tackles. But they don't get any easier. Look, now we know when they say they all get paid, you look at the running backs that have had success against the Giants, and you can put any name on the back of a jersey, and if you're not executing well, they all have success. So you got Rico Dowdle last week, and now you got Alvin Kamara. It doesn't matter who they line up there. You've got to show that schematically things can be better and you can tackle the football. Right now, that's my biggest question.
Well, it's also opportunity, right? We talk about this. When you watch other teams, and there's other teams that are dealing with injuries, right? And obviously you lose Dexter Lawrence. You can't replace him. But there are opportunities for other defensive linemen that are on the roster, whether it's practice squad players that'll be elevated or guys that are part of the rotation. It's your chance to shine now. It's your chance to prove that you deserve a jersey, you deserve a paycheck. And, it'll go a long way in determining, what your status in the league is for next year by how you perform.
Sure. And this is basically where they are. If we're being completely honest, Bob, this is about evaluating players' performance. And again, I don't know what the thought process is with the coach, but I mean, it's everybody. It's how you're going to evaluate. How are you guys prepared? How are you guys playing? How do you prepare as a player? How do you perform as a player on Sunday? Listen, opportunity is there. If it's not on a Giant roster, it's on another roster. If you can show that you can be a professional football player and make plays. So, but this is basically evaluation time. We're so far down the line now, and nobody's throwing the season away. But the odds are constantly stacking against them. When you read the injury report and you see what's questionable and what's not questionable, and you say, okay, well, it is what it is at this point in the season. And, the guys that are there have got to be able to go out and show that they belong in the NFL.
Yeah, and as we're also learning, it's not just one player, right? I think Giant fans thought that Malik Neighbors could wave a magic wand. The Giants are dead last, 5.9 yards per pass attempt in the NFL. And it's not just a quarterback. I mean, there's protection issues. There's a lot of things with this team that are going to have to get addressed in the offseason as far as kind of building it back up to being able to win. Because I thought you made a really good point when you said, Jenga piece with the offensive line. And there are other teams that have lost their all-pro tackle or all-pro guard or all-pro center when we saw the Cowboys last week with no Zach Martin.
Yeah.
it can't be a Jenga where you take one guy out and then the whole thing starts to unravel, because there's teams dealing with injuries around the league on the offensive line. In some cases, going out starting two guys because people are injured and still being able to function at some kind of level.
Yeah, I mean, listen, the Dallas Cowboys came into the game with Zach Martin out. They lose their left
Left
tackle
tackle.
goes out. So that's two key pieces. The backup comes in and does a good job for them. And again, they had a game plan. The backups came in there and they executed the game plan. And the Giants they played to form. They couldn't stop the run, no matter who was out there. So obviously, this is an issue that has to be addressed, and it's not too late in the season to show that you can scheme up and you can play to a level that can not allow teams just to run all over you. I mean, listen, like you said, it's backups all over the league right now, and then not to mention during the course of games, guys get hurt. You got to be able to show that you can compete in this league. Simple as that.
Well, we saw that on Thursday night with your hometown team, the Detroit Lions, like really banged up on the defensive side of the football. And then they lose one of their best defensive tackles in the game. He gets ruled out with a concussion. Somebody else has got to step in and get the job done. And that's what they were able to do in holding off the Green Bay Packers. So it's not unique to the Giants what's happening right now.
No, and there's nobody attending that pity party.
No.
If they're in the woe is me phase of football life, I think show up. Show up, be a professional, show that you belong in the National Football League, because you look around the league, like you said, and you say that you're not as bad as people are saying you are, then go out and show it. Like, put a game plan together, go execute the game plan and see what happens, right? Obviously, the more injuries you get, the tougher the tougher the hill is to climb, but it's all doable, because you don't know what team's going to show up on the other side of the football. Interested in seeing how Drew Lock does now that he's had a full week of practice. And there are, again, here we go. There are some pieces that are still available, right? Running back, wide receivers. You've got still got a good tight end there, Bellinger, who's not on the IR. So I want to see things. I want to see a guy like Deonte Banks compete. I want to see if you're getting better every week and not just kind of cruising along, because this league is not kind to you when you think that you're going to get another chance, right? We haven't seen DeAndre Baker back on a football field. Kadarius Toney was, used for whatever he was used for, and now he's discarded. He's not on a roster, is he?
Practice squad.
Yeah, not on an active roster, right? So listen, these players have got to perform, got to go out there and show that they're professionals. Start to build your resume.
Carl, one thing that's Next Gen has only been charting these stats since 2016, but they charted this stat, the Giants, and this I think ties in hand with the fact that inexplicably they only have one interception, and that came on opening day when Dexter Lawrence tipped a Sam Darnold pass, fluttered up in the air. Darius Muasau caught it. Mm-hmm. Giants haven't gotten an interception since week 1. 11 straight games, longest streak since 1940. They have one interception this year. The Jets have 2. Those are the 2 lowest numbers in the league. But, the ball awareness, we talk about it all the time. Locating the football. It's not like every throw is perfect against them.
Right.
According to Next Gen, teams are completing 69% of their passes against the Giants when the ball travels in the air at least 20 yards. Not like a little 4-yard pass, but the ball's in the air for 20 yards. 69%, which is the highest completion percentage Next Gen has ever charted.
Hmm.
And I think that kind of speaks to the ball awareness thing too, right?
Yeah. So, you know, what do they call them? Big plays, explosive plays. Every team wants them, right? Most teams get maybe 2 opportunities a game. If teams are getting explosive plays at a rate of 69% success rate, that tells you two things. Ball awareness is not there, and you can't rush the passer with any consistency. Because if you can get these explosive plays beyond 20 yards or 20 yards or more, quarterback has a little time because the ball has to travel. These are not catch and run plays. So you don't have ball awareness. You are not getting enough pressure on the quarterback. So that just kind of tells you of where, I mean, and I'm not, I don't like talking about coaches because I don't sit in their meetings, but these performance numbers are what they are. And they've got to get something fixed. They've got to coordinate it. You can't say you don't have the players. You sign up for it as coaches. You sign up for it as players. You got to play better. Like all of these teams around the league, like you said, they're all dealing with something. Coaches are dealing with something. Every coach would love to have a stacked hand, a winning hand, but footballs when this time of year. So you gotta figure these things out because these things just don't jump up and bite you in the butt. If it's a 69% success rate, those numbers got to stand out to you. You got to figure out how to stop that, right? That's not one game. That's over the course of the season now.
Right. And it really ties into the run defense again, Carl. We're back. We go back to the run defense where, because I'm sitting here at one point, the Giants led the NFL in sacks with 31 or whatever it was.
Mm-hmm.
And they barely have gotten any sacks since then. And if you can't stop the run, teams aren't in third and longs.
Right.
But then conversely, Carl, the stat that I just gave you, teams have hit 11 of 46 third downs of 9+ against the Giants, which is a little higher than league average.
Mm-hmm.
So it's kind of been all coupled together. They don't stop the run, but when they do get teams in third and longs, they're able to hit passes on them. And I don't know what happened to that pass rush that was at least a force earlier in the year.
Well, the NFL happened to that pass rush, and that pass rush has not adjusted. But when I say the NFL happened to that pass rush, they can't stop the run. They can't stop the run. That's why they can't rush the passer. It's just that simple. Teams have figured that out. They're not giving this giant, their best pass rushers opportunities to really tee off because it's all, minimal yardage situations. They don't create third and long situations. And then if they find themselves in it, they know how to scheme up a pass protection that will eliminate someone like Burns or Thibodeau. And they just have not been effective. And stopping the run is where it starts. It really does. If you can contain a team and make them actually run a series of downs without giving up big chunk runs, you'll have success in some other areas. But it all comes down to just their inability to just stop a run.
And Kamara is a multi-threat. So he has 7 seasons with at least 50 catches. He needs one catch to become only the second player in the history of the sport to have at least 6 seasons with 60 catches.
Mm.
And he's already led in 2020. It's kind of a little tie-in to the game. In 2020, he led the team in rushing yards and receiving yards. And right now, he leads his team in rushing and receiving yards.
Hmm.
If he leads his team in rushing and receiving yards for a second time this year, he's going to join Lydell Mitchell of the Colts, 74-77, that did it, and New York Giant Hall of Famer Frank Gifford, who led the team in rushing and receiving in 56, 57, and 59. If you're coming to the game on Sunday, and, I feel bad about this, but they're giving out bobbleheads on Sunday for fans coming. They're Frank Gifford bobbleheads. And they're going to have the Gifford family ring the bell. The thing that really I feel bad about with all this is the way the season has gone. This is the 100-year celebration. And, there'll be fans that are on our timeline. They'll be like, stop it with the history stuff. And it's like, no, you can't really stop it with the history stuff because it's the 100th season.
Yeah.
And I feel bad for, the Gifford family in the respect that, I don't want to hear about the history. Like, this should be a big celebration, with the Gifford bobblehead. You met him.
Yes.
You were playing when he was calling Monday Night Football.
Yeah. Listen, I'd like to consider Frank and Kathy Lee and Cody friends. Like we raised our kids were, during the same era of when Kathy Lee was on and Cody was growing up. They were parallel to my kids. So there was always a kind of connection there, and, had been to the show, and, they've always been nice personally to my family. So yeah, they're great people, man. And it's history. It's unfortunate for our fan base to kind of celebrate 100 years of history and not have the things that are presently happening get better.
Anything else that you any other thoughts that you have on this game or anything NFL wise at this point?
Nope, we're going to watch this game. We're going to see who is going to be competitive. There are a lot of opportunities there. We'll see, Bob. It's just, look, I think all has been said. It's just let the game play itself out, and let's see what comes of it. But there's a lot of things that can be accomplished in a game like this and in a season like this.
Yeah, because there's this NFL version of Santa Claus who checks his list, makes a list, and he checks it twice, and it's called NFL coaches tape that every organization has access to. And people are already looking at potential free agents for next year, or guys that potentially could be on the street, or whatever the case might be, or who's going to get released or whatever. So there's a Santa out there, an NFL version of Santa that's making the list, and teams are going to check it twice. So you better put something on tape that's not naughty but nice.
Exactly.
I don't know. I don't know where else to go with it, buddy.
We're here. We'll see you Sunday.
All right. As we like to end the show with,
tell a friend to tell a friend.
Believe in Giants.